Well, hello everybody. Megavon and Melanin. Welcome to the Why Ukraine live stream from a secret location somewhere in Ukraine, a secret drone laboratory and training facility that I've been at. I've been here since Sunday, building drones. So thank you everyone for coming. It's wonderful to see you. And well, I guess the first thing we have to talk about is F-16s. F-16s are in Ukraine. Finally. 6 of them. At max. It's great. You guys are trying to figure out who liked well, thank you very much for liking. I appreciate everyone who has liked and subscribed. I want to talk about what is the nature of this live stream. It's not just reporting on the news. And I find that I get a lot of people who click on this live stream expecting to get like a fast news report. And this is a place to talk. This is a place for you to come and share. And I would also say that if you're catching the live stream late and it's no longer live, please enter in the comments as you go along. A lot of you do that, and it's sometimes it's really informative to me, and I really appreciate your opinion. Sally is one person who does that quite a lot. Philippe sometimes, and so I really appreciate the opinion of my viewers, all like 200 or so of you. And I'm not here to just, there's plenty of other people who can just read the news for you, I guess. And there's also plenty of people who can give you opinions. I'm here just as much to hear your opinion and as anything else, So yeah, F-16s are here. They have been sighted. They have been spotted. There's lots of footage out there. Dennis Davydov and I think Georgie and ATP Geopolitics. Holy Oblation. You don't know if you're live right now. Yeah, so I want to thank everyone who's here. Petra, yes, Holy Oblation, Herb, KK's GG, Salt of the Red Earth, Keith, thank you for coming. Catherine, thank you for waking up there in Australia. Belle, it's wonderful to see you. Oh, Sally, you are here. Hey, look at that. So yeah, thank you everyone who is here, and it means a lot to me. Sitting here in Ukraine, I often say that. Oh, Nurse Sean, I see we have. Sitting here in Ukraine, I often tend to feel a little bit alone. Wishing B, it says that is one fabulous thumbnail. Thank you. That was taken yesterday. It was a video of me. Well, it's not a video of me. It's a video of my drone that I was working on. Let me see if I can. Is this? Yeah, I think this might actually be the video, or it's one of the videos that I made. So here you go. This is wiring up the power distribution board. Here is what I'm doing, and as you can see, I'm a little bit clumsy. Just learning. I did work for 3 years for Hewlett Packard doing component level printed circuit board troubleshooting, but that was like 30 years ago, almost. Oh, Shere Khan. I see you here, Mark Sangamon. Wow, so many people. And I have Shere Khan. Oh, Petra, thank you very much. It means a lot for sending me 129 Swedish kroners. Yeah, they seem to like me. Shirkan, yeah. I Shirkan is the reason I'm here. Thankfully, thank you very much. Um, and here, I should turn off the sound on this video. It's not necessary. Um, oh, Secular Sakai is here. Excellent. Yeah. Um, so these drones are pretty easy to assemble, and there's just a lot of steps, but there's nothing too difficult. These are the power lines that go to the motors, and I'm going to solder them in place. So I'm pre-soldering the wires to add a little bit of solder um, to the wires here. That's what I'm doing in this part of the video, and then I'm going to put them down on the little tabs on the circuit board. KKSGG, thank you so much for gifting memberships to people. I know that maybe you guys don't think like that's a big deal, but here in Ukraine, $5 goes a long way, and I live on a Ukrainian salary now. I don't live, um, Possum Nation. I see you got your membership. Thank you very much. And yeah, it is kind of like tinning. That's true. Soldering and tinning are I think they similar technology, come from the same. Did I mention that green is my favorite color? I don't know. I think they're just regular placemats. I don't know why green was chosen. I will say that it makes it really easy to find when you have little bits and pieces, little screws and odds and ends that you've lost somewhere. It makes it really easy to find them. And yeah, I will say I have successfully not. Oh god, I shouldn't even say this now. I was about to say that I have successfully not broken a drone so far, but now I've jinxed myself. So probably that's the next thing I'll do is go and bust a drone. So yeah, guys, there it is. Now I actually have made a bunch of these videos and they failed to upload. Let me see if I can get more here. Oh, good, another one uploaded. Just took forever for that thing to upload. Yes. I want it to go here. There we go. And then I can bring it up on my screen. Sorry, my brain is a little bit fried today, to be honest. I stayed up too late working on the YouTube channel last night, and now I'm paying the price. It's a constant problem, you burning the candle at both ends here. If you could, I'm sure you can imagine. Oh yeah, here we go. I'll open up this one. Sorry, had to mute it because we're rocking out to Depeche Mode as we are playing. There we go. Yeah, Herb, you're right. F it up, get it over with, and move on. Yeah, that's right. That's right. What was it? William S. Burroughs said, "Never trust a doctor who's never killed a patient." Dimitru, hi there. Thanks for coming. So yeah, this is me assembling the frame. Is a carbon fiber frame. So that what you see in front of me is a frame that I previously assembled, and I'm just using that as a guide and a model as I go along to make sure that I get everything right. And I'm not trying to go fast, like like they say. What is it they say in the artillery? Slow is smooth, smooth is fast, right? So that's kind of what I'm going for here, basically. And let's see if I have another one. No, I think that's yeah. This is another one of me assembling the frame, and I want it over here. Wait a minute, I have to turn off the sound again. um, yeah, thank you, Keith. So I mean, my hope is to continue this. So I'm not just doing this to say, "Oh, look, I'm a good person." No, my goal with this, um, is to first of all, I'm learning, and then my goal is in my hometown, in my village, in another part of Ukraine, to set up a drone manufacturing lab. Um, to take what I've learned here and what I've practiced, and be able to teach it to other people. That is really the whole point. Um, so and in fact, I if I don't get into the goddamn Ukrainian army, this is kind of my backup, which will be to teach Ukrainians and maybe some of you um, who would like to come to Ukraine to volunteer. And this might be one of the things that you can volunteer to do. And it would be very nice, I think, to have a little, drone laboratory set up where people can come and, just sit down, and you don't have to be an engineer. You can just, I mean, this is like putting Legos together, guys. It's easier than building model airplanes by far. Okay. Uh, you know, and I mean, granted, maybe not everybody is going to have, oh God, that's a terrible picture of me. Not everybody is going to want to do this part, you know, or have the skill to do that. And that's okay. You know, you do 1,000 of these things or 10 or whatever, and that's a huge contribution. It's a huge contribution. Um, well, like I was saying, Catherine says it looks complicated. Sakai, thank you. I hope that you can be. Um, uh, it is complicated, but what you do with complicated things, Catherine, is to break things down into little pieces. You know. Oh my God, Bell, I'm so glad that you brought this up. So Bell asked, "Will the ban from China have any effect on this?" It's not on what I'm specifically doing. No. Um, yeah, Cheryl. Yeah, working and paying taxes in Ukraine. Yeah, yeah. It turns out I am. um, so to answer your question, Bell asked about. Now, this is something I specifically wanted to bring up because this is a bigger news story. I think the Chinese ban. Hang on. The China the Chinese ban on drones uh, is a bigger news story than the F-16s, and I think that at least in the short term, um, this God, where is the goddamn article? I really, guys, I just literally walked in from the drone lab because it's across on the other side of town, and had to rush to sit down and get everything organized. And I have all of my articles are out of order from what they usually are. For God's sake. All right, I'm just gonna have to Google it. Yeah, China ban drones. Yeah, here we go. It is a huge, huge deal. Okay. Um, this is and here's the thing. Okay, so let's be clear when we're talking about um, drones here in Ukraine. There are two primary drones that are used. Okay, and one of them is like these ones, and these are called FPV drones, and or first person view drones. Okay, And these are mainly built from greetings to Texas there. But these drones are mostly hand built, and yes, the component, particularly these controller chips, do mostly also come from China. But so far, that's not what the ban is on. But also, it might be easier to source those chips. Okay. Um, yeah. Taiwan, Vietnam, Malaysia. Even there's a lot of American drone companies that, over the long term or even the medium term, are going to really profit. Yeah. Sakai says somebody called Taiwan, Vietnam, and Malaysia. There's money to be made and a PRC shaped hole to be filled. It's really true. Yes, and that's exactly right, Slavia Ukrainian. They will keep selling those drones to Russia. And you're right, it's not even the drones, it's the chips. It's these particular chips. When we're talking about the FPV drones, it's the chips. Now, I haven't heard that they banned the chips. Okay, I've heard that they've banned uh, the physical drones themselves. And what that will affect, to be clear, is reconnaissance. Okay, because I can tell you right now, actually, to be honest, every single recon drone team who I have spoken to, they all use Mavics. They all use DJI Mavic 3. Okay, DJI Mavic 3, Mavic 3 Pro. In fact, um, this is it. This is the gold standard. And there's some other Mavics, but they're all Mavic. They're all DJI. Okay, this is the gold standard for reconnaissance drones in Ukraine, and nobody else is even able to make drones that are comparable in price and feature set that these drones have. Now, what the Ukrainians do is they have labs set up. This is funny. Wow, that is something else. Wonder where this thing is made. Anyway, I mean, there will be replacement. Ukraine will have to find replacements for these drones. Okay, but Slava Ukrainian says, "Can I order them here to Texas and ship them on to Ukraine?" It's my understanding that this is not a ban on drones going to Ukraine. It's a ban on the export of drones that can be used for military purposes. And so China will ban the export of all unregulated civilian drones that can be used for military purposes or in quote unquote terrorist activities. Okay. Um, and military purpose is reconnaissance, So recon drones they're not dropping bombs, they're providing absolutely uh absolutely vital intelligence information for Herb, it's the Mavic 3. That's it. That's all they use. And there's a reason for that. Okay, it's not just about the feature set and the prices, it's standardization. Okay. So you have to fix these things, they have to be constantly repaired. Okay, Bell, thank you. Or can we crowdfund a drone factory for or in Ukraine? Funny you should mention that. Okay? Because to be honest with you, that's the next thing I'm going to do. All right? That's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing. Okay? I have a plan for this. More than likely the next kind of thing that I think, that the Russians having the Russian Gerbera So this one, these are foam drones, and they basically have, effectively, they just have a cell phone or a SIM card with a thing to plug a SIM card in, which is effectively a phone. And these things, these are the new primary reconnaissance drone that Russia is using, and they are as cheap as possible. And I think this will be the new race, both in Ukraine and in Russia, because the thing about quadcopters is they're great and everything, and they have a very important purpose, and even especially these these kind of recon drones with gimbals and all of that have a very important purpose. But for general surveillance of the battlefield, a fixed wing drone that constantly circles along a fixed path is just as good. And it's something that Ukraine doesn't seem to be as focused on, but I think that, in fact, I can tell you that it's changing here at this laboratory where I am. They're actively developing basically an alternative to this drone, this Gerbera drone. And I have a plan to make drones even cheaper. And I started talking about it last stream, and then a Russian troll popped in, and I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk about it now. But I'd be happy to talk about it with those of you who might be interested. It's something that I've been talking about for months. It's all tied in with the whole volunteer program that I want to set up, and also the student training program that I want to set up, which is, come on, James, you can find it. Yeah, which is this program, civil defense. And to be honest, I was asked to teach this class, the drone training class for teenagers. I was asked to teach the first class of this week, and I told them no because I wanted to come here. It wasn't like I was always every time going to have the opportunity to come here and improve my skill set, with regards to drones. I mean, when I go and teach kids or whoever I'm going to teach, thank you, Robert. Yeah. Yes, Slava Ukraini. Yeah, we can do a group call. We could do it on Discord, and I'd be happy to talk about that. That's kind of what I set the Discord up for. And in fact, this has been on my list for a long time, but there's a group called Technology for Ukraine, and I know they're working with Arthur Rahe, and I have an email communication with them, and I just haven't had time to follow up on it. But this is specifically a group. So if you just Google technologyforukraine.com, this is a group that I hope to be able to contact and talk about exactly this kind of a thing, because I can't do all this by myself. I can barely do a freaking live stream, for Christ's sake, and I sure as hell can't handle making all this happen. So but it is absolutely going to be vital, and it needs 30 days. China is banning these drones in 30 days, and I can tell you right now, I don't think this is OPSEC to talk about it, but each and every drone team. So just imagine, okay, now this is not true across the board, but when we're talking about infantry, the way it's supposed to work, more or less, is every brigade. Oh, good. Yeah, Robert, if you're a member of Arthur's army, then let's talk. And I need, what I'll do is oh gosh, I need to connect you guys to my Discord then. Let's see. I didn't have Discord up, and I can just create a quick invite. And if you have a membership on the YouTube channel, you can go to Discord and connect your Discord to your YouTube account, and you'll automatically be joined into my server, the Why Ukraine the Last Alliance that I set up. So if you're a YouTube member, then you're automatically a member of the Discord server. Yeah. So where was I? That's right. I am creating an invite. I don't usually do this so early in the, but it's okay. I think it's all right. I don't want that. I'm going to put it to 1 hour and 10. Okay. Copy. All right. So this Discord invite right here is good for 1 hour and 10 people. So if you miss the 10, just let me know and I'll do it again. I keep my Discord restricted. It's not an open Discord yet. It's not an open Discord yet. I need more help to maintain, to help mod and administer the Discord, because my Discord is not like other people's. I am here in Ukraine and I'm doing stuff, and I intend to use the Discord to not to share OPSEC, operational security per se, but to talk about things that we cannot talk about, just in any open forum. Oh yeah, okay. Oh, you're a civil engineer, KKSGG. That's cool. That's super cool. I actually teach one of the companies I teach English for here in Ukraine. They're an engineering company. They create plans for electrical systems for large building projects in America. And I teach all their engineers English. Yeah, they exist. China is banning drones. What does this mean? I can think of crazy jokes, but the serious theme I missed. Okay. It is crazy. And Secular Sakai kind of said it was, kind of made a joke too, about it, because China banning drones, that's how are they going to, that's like so many, but they're not going to be able to completely ban drones, but it's going to have an effect. It's going to have an effect on Ukraine, on the availability of drones in Ukraine. And like I said, what I was getting to before I got distracted is that so every battalion has at least one drone team, and frankly, every company, okay, like Alpha Company, Beta Company, Charlie Company, whatever, should have its own drone team. That's not true across the board. That's okay. Let's see, Robert and KKCG. I'm a network engineer, okay, but I never got licensed. There's not really a license for network engineers, but so, and I built wireless networks, helped to build wireless networks across the United States, and wired and wireless networks. But I only ever got my CCNA. I didn't go like full CCIE or anything like that. Anna, you said, I'm hoping USA and other countries will be able to pick up the slack, and Ukraine is going to pick up the slack. What's going to happen is you're going to have people, just like I'm doing, building FPV drones. These are much more simple to build than a DJI or one of these recon drones, because there's just more sophisticated electronics in the recon drones. the way to think about it is an FPV drone. You actually have to fly an FPV drone. You have to think about, I mean, where you push it is where it will go. I don't know how else to say that. It's like flying. It's more like flying an airplane in that sense, except you don't have. It's like flying a helicopter. That's what it is. Oh, hey, Greg. Hey, Greg. Thank you for coming. Yeah, I've wanted to have a. I wanted to have a meeting with Greg this week, and it just didn't work out with my travel plans. It's so difficult to get tickets, train tickets going to the west of Ukraine right now. I don't know if it's because everybody's going on vacation in the summertime and everybody goes to the west of Ukraine in the summer. I don't think it's because of like refugees or anything like that. But traveling to and from the west of Ukraine, where I am right now, is just incredibly restrictive. And I barely got like the last seats on the train coming and going. And unfortunately, the travel plans did not allow me to make a stopover in Kyiv as I had hoped to meet with Greg. So sorry about that, Greg. Because Greg does 3D printing and he is basically like residing now in, I hope it's okay if I say this, residing now in Kyiv and has a whole 3D lab. I'm imagining you in like some hotel, Greg, with just 3D printers everywhere and people, the hotel workers come in to clean or whatever, and they're just like, what the hell's going on? That's that's what I imagine anyway. And Greg, one of the things I wanted to tell you is that I have contacts with a lot. If you need a safe place to set up your laboratory, your workspace, if you will, where it's not going to get fiddled with by people you don't want to, or robbed or something like that. I have people. Yeah, we need to do a meeting over the internet. This week, of course, doing all of this, I am like slammed back to back to back. But next week, it's God damn it, we're gonna do an internet meeting next week is what I want to do. So I don't want to beat a dead horse too much on this drone issue, but it's it's way bigger in the short term than the F-16s. The F-16s are going to come in slowly. Oh, it is accurate, Greg. Oh man, for some reason, I don't know. For some reason, I have this whole. I don't know if you guys remember my hobbit hole underground in my home where I have the Riz lights set up, and it's slightly dark, and then like there's like weird pink lights shining everywhere, and it looks like a goddamn spaceship. That's what I picture your hotel room looks like right now, Greg. And like it used to look like the one I'm in right now. By the way, this is a nice hotel and a nice hotel room. I had to there was a really beautiful painting on the wall back behind me, and I really wanted to show it to you guys, but I realized it might give away my location. I know that sounds crazy, but so I took it down, and I think Shere Khan, I think you would understand why, since you've been here. Let's see. Oh, that's interesting. KKSGG. I've been meaning to find some extra room in my budget to help out that group that fills the potholes in gray zone roads. Good God, I didn't know that was a thing. That's actually really important. Of course, it's filling potholes is always a Sisyphean effort, but it's especially a Sisyphean effort in a war zone, but also so freaking important. I have pictures that I could probably dig up and show you where of various vehicles that need to be replaced, units, evacuation vehicles that were destroyed or rendered inoperable, not by missiles or mines, but by freaking potholes, or actually missile craters, in fact. out there in the gray zone sort of areas. Andre West's pothole filling project. I've not heard about this, Sally. It's very interesting. Oh, you, Ken, thank you all for coming. Listen, guys, those of you who have ordered stuff from my website, it should be starting to arrive. So if you have gotten something from me or from Ukraine, please announce it. Please let me know. I haven't had time to do a lot of things. I haven't had time to check the tracking information on all the stuff that I sent. So I'm slightly terrified that it all got blocked at customs. And oh, good God, I don't want to have a panic attack, for fuck's sake. Shirkan, driving in Ukraine is like driving on the surface of the moon. Yeah, and that's not even in the war zone in some places. Yes, KKSGG, yes, please send a link in the Discord, and I have Discord open now. So if you put a link in the Discord, I'll post it to our chat here, because that is an amazing thing. Yeah, with Il Pirata, who is one of our viewers usually. Last April is when I first went to Sloviansk. Okay, you're still waiting. Oh boy. All right, so I better go and check all the tracking information. If for some reason the items that you ordered got blocked by customs, Ukrainian customs or something like that, I will get a notification, and I haven't seen one. I haven't seen any yet. Good God, now I need to. I'm terrified. Ukroposhta. Okay, I can't read that. What does this say? Okay, let me see if I can. I think. Oh, anyway, I'll check. While I'm sitting here, I think my wife can check from her computer. Okay. Can you check if the things we sent via Ukroposhta went through? I don't know if she'll get back to me today, but certainly by Saturday I should know. Let's see, Greg. When I was driving from Warsaw to Kiev, I found the roads were not the best in the west around Lviv, but they got a lot better as I headed east to Kiev. Yeah, it's very funny. The road conditions have actually improved in Ukraine throughout the war. And a lot of Ukrainians have been angry about the fact that different, because the funding goes to the states or oblasts, and then the oblasts or local municipalities work on the roads. And K Joy, hello, greetings. I don't remember seeing you before, so it's wonderful to have you from Texas. When I ordered a T-shirt last year, it took about a month to arrive. Yeah, that's. I was really hoping it would be quicker. It's fucking forever. Yeah. Anyway, so the roads have been improving, and there's a good reason for that, because obviously, if you want to transport an army, and all the logistics required for that, you need to improve better. You need to have better roads. Andre West, Sally says, Andre West is a young German mechanic who came early in the war hoping to armor vehicles. He knows Brandon Mitchell and has done a wide variety of SNR evacuation, search and rescue, right? Aid, delivery, vehicle, and road repair. Okay, cool. It's probably somebody I've seen in one of Brandon's videos, I'm guessing. But yeah, that's a huge... I actually, not in my city, my home city, but in a city close to mine, I saw a pothole filling machine for the very first time, like ever. I'd never seen a pothole filling machine. I not pothole filling machine. Not like this. Let's see if I can find. Actually, to be honest, it looked a lot like this thing right here. No, well, yeah, except it was on the back of a truck, and out the back, and this was in Ukraine, and so out the back of this right here, it was spraying asphalt into the hole, which I had never seen before. But it was on a wheeled. It was not on a cart like that. It was on a wheel, like on an actual truck. So, you know, absolutely important things in a time of war, essentially. So, anyway, so thank you guys for talking about that, because these things are so important. And I don't know if I made this point before. The point I was trying to make before I keep getting distracted is that on average, a recon drone team will lose between 1 and 3 Mavic drones per day. Per day, guys. And each of these drones, like, let's just see, how much is a Mavic? Let's see. Buy Mavic 3 Pro. What is the price of a Mavic 3? 87,000, 79,000. This is in grivnas, so I'm going to have to convert it. I can't remember. UH to USD. And let's see. So 70,000. So, okay. So $1,700. And I can almost guarantee you. So 87,000, 77. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay. 77, $1,800. So yeah, I can almost guarantee you that is like a refurbished. I would almost certainly say that that's a refurbished DJI. So, and that's a lot. I mean, you can just imagine, like, at that rate. Okay, this means that at that rate, if this is really serious and China actually does restrict these types of drones coming to Ukraine, and they truly are restricted, I would give Ukraine a month, maybe maximum 3 months, before they almost completely run out of drones. Let's see, KKSGG, wasn't sure where you wanted me to post the link on Discord, but I put it in coming to Ukraine. Okay, yeah, and you can also post it in the main chat too. When in doubt, post to the main chat, and then also post to if there's a specific group that you think it might be useful. That's what I recommend. If you're posting things in the Discord, this is my personal recommendation, is because a lot of people never look in any of the other rooms besides the main chat of every Discord server. So post it there, and then if I myself or my admin don't like it where it is, that makes it easier for the admin to just delete the one from the main chat, because I know that you've already posted it in the relevant group. And also, something like that, if you have a link to post and you're not sure where to post it, please say so in the main group chat. Say so, because then that will kind of attract the attention of myself or one of the admins and say, maybe we need to make a place to put this, maybe we should think about a special place for certain types of information. So anyway, guys, I'm really glad to hear that some of you are interested in, crowdfunding basically a drone lab, like a volunteer drone lab center, because that was ultimately my goal through all of this. So maybe that'll be the next thing on the website. For right now, um, buying merch is the best thing that you can do to support that effort. Because this stuff up here this is obviously going to individual units. That's the whole purpose of this. But this down here is going to mostly going to my own plans here in Ukraine. Like, for example, this is not free. So the work that I'm doing here, by the way, I guess I could show you this. This is one of their training, like when you first start, this is a training drone and it has a little camera on it. And so this is for like indoor training. This is the kind of drone here. I need to go full screen, don't I? There we go. So this is the kind of training drone that I used and will continue to use with students, like teenagers or whatever, for the first time flying into things, and it's not going to be broken as easily. And it's a great way to just kind of this one had to have a camera added to it, but a lot of them actually come with a camera, and they interact with with your phone, so that there's a program that runs right on the phone. Let's see. Greg Huey says, Catherine Bell, it is a long... Oh, yeah, Catherine is coming to Ukraine. I forgot about that. Catherine Bell, it is a long drive. If I do the trip again, I might use the train or bus. Are you heading to Kyiv? If you need any info when you arrive, hit me up, and I might be able to help. Yes, Catherine, you should definitely get in touch with Greg, since he is already there. Lauren, Herb says, Lauren, having a nice warm beer right now, but thanks. Hey, Philippe, how you doing? Good to see you, my man. Yeah. So, yeah, and that's really good, Catherine, to talk to Greg, because he's actually in Kyiv, and I'm not. I'm about 2 hours away on a good day. So, yeah. But yeah, this is something I want us to talk about further, and about, because it's going to become really, really super important really, really soon, that Ukraine is going to need to find its own source or alternative sources of drones. And anything we can do to help that is going to be really useful. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're right, Lauren. Lauren, you're right. Yeah, that's exactly what this is. This is a training drone, just like when the U.S. Air Force first puts pilots into single-engine prop planes. Eventually, they work their way up into jets. Yeah. So the standard thing is you start with a kind of a toy training drone, and then you maybe work your way up to, like, say, a Mavic Mini, like a Mavic 2 or something like that. That's what's used as standard for training. And then you move on to a Mavic Pro, and you learn how to drive a recon drone, and then you move on to an FPV. And the FPV drones are like the highest level. Shere Khan, you didn't hear that. How did I get a room without a painting? I took the painting down, Shere Khan. I took the painting down because I thought that it might make the location too obvious. In other words, yeah, somebody might know. Yeah, so that's the answer to that. Anyway, so let's talk, now that we talked about drones, let's talk about the F-16s. I'm excited. It's fantastic. And I think that, a lot of people have been surmising that, too offensive? No, I'm not worried about offending people, Shere Khan, at all. That's funny, though. Anna, yes, yes. They do have simulators. In fact, there's a very good simulator called Liftoff that you can download from Steam. There's also Mavic makes one, and then Aerorozvidka has, I think, its own version. Aerorozvidka is it means air reconnaissance. It's the government air reconnaissance. They also build drones and stuff too. The Ukrainian government air reconnaissance is what that is. And I worked with them last year when I taught my drone class. Yeah, so in fact, as a matter of fact, right outside my room here, like maybe 3 meters away from where I'm sitting, there's a bunch of computers, and they all have drone simulators on them, and so that's where everybody. So first they do the simulators, then they do the toy drones, then they do all the other stuff like I described. So, let's see. Yeah, so F-16's amazing. I hope they have an amazing effect. But here's something just kind of interesting that I just noticed. Okay, as I was sitting down, I just went on the major Ukrainian, just a few of the different major Ukrainian websites, and not one of them has F-16's as front page news. Okay, that is very telling. Now, I understand that the news technically came out yesterday, but I would still expect to see this being reported on a much larger scale here in Ukraine. And it's not that it's not being reported. Cheryl, Bacchus at the Last Supper. Now I'm curious. Okay, I tell you what, guys. After the live stream, I'm going to take a picture of some of the paintings in the hotel room, and I will post it to the Discord chat. Yeah. Let's see, but they exist. But just recently, some story was saying China is supporting Ukraine, and I merely said it's about time, just as I predicted. So yeah, 2 steps back. But China prefers Western markets. Yeah, no, they're trying to play both sides against the middle. That's what China is doing. That's what BRICS is doing. Anyway, I just, on the F-16 thing, I just feel like the Ukrainian media, I think either Ukrainians have moved to the point where they're just like, oh, great, F-16s. I wish they'd been here 2 years ago when we really needed them. And so now, oh, here we go. Finally, we move down to first F-16 fighter jets arrive in Ukraine. So finally, down to the bottom. And this is just taken from Bloomberg. It's very interesting that there isn't independent Ukrainian reporting on the subject. Maybe they're trying to keep a veil of hush. Yeah, yeah, exactly, Bill. Ukraine is keeping the F-16s pretty low profile. Wait, Anna, yes, they're stuck trying to sell their orange mango. I don't, is that about China? I don't understand. Yeah, Shere Khan, that's exactly my feeling. It should have been in here 2 years ago, and even I mean, I hate to say this, but even the Ukrainian generals have said, yeah, it's not going to have the battlefield effect that it would have had when we asked for them. And unfortunately, again, going back to this, this drip, 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 having 6 F-16s, what does that do? Right? That gives the Russian military time to adapt and adjust their strategy and tactics. Let's see, Lauren, I'm guessing the Ukrainian sites are so used to misinformation about F-16s, yeah, that they are reserving reports. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense, And so I mean, I really hope that they have a truly dramatic effect on the battlefield. That is what we all want. But it's okay. Oh my God, now I've got Alanis Morissette in my freaking now I've got Alanis Morissette in my. It's like a free ride when you've already paid. Okay, that's what it feels like to me. Yeah. Yes, Shere Khan. Too much red tape. That's why grassroots groups can be of such help. Yeah. Yeah. Small, independent NGOs are truly making the difference in this war. Um, yeah, it's all over Telegram, but larger media are barely touching it. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess my thing is, I have stopped reporting on and forwarding and I'm glad that other people are doing this, but I have stopped forwarding and reporting on um pledged aid, like recently Spain promised to send a bunch of Hawk missile systems to Ukraine by September. I mean, okay, how many times has that been talked about? Since 2022. Okay. So every time it gets talked about in the news, people think that, oh, well, that means that they were sent. But the fact is that they weren't. The aid was not sent. It was just talked about. So the false impression that people have is that Ukraine is getting a lot more aid than it actually is. That's the real problem. Well, okay. It's a problem. There's a lot of real problems. The pilots and maintenance haven't finished training yet. No, you're right. You're right, Wishing Bee. I agree. And Ukraine wanted to get F-16s here as soon as possible, and all they, I think what I understand is they have 10 planes, or they will have 10 planes, and 6 pilots. The other thing I would like to say is that this training issue with the pilots speaks very much to the failure of the Ukrainian education system at teaching English. I'm speaking now as an English teacher here in Ukraine. I would just like to say that most Ukrainians receive 10 or more years of English instruction in school. And one of the biggest barriers to these F-16 pilots was English. Now, if you had been taught a language for 10 years, I would hope that you would know the language. And the fact that, Ukrainians can be taught English. Now, I know that some do learn English here, but I would argue that in general, they learn English in spite of the education system in Ukraine. KK's GG. Even PBS won't let you pledge without getting your card number. Yeah, that's what I mean. No, but I understand it's logistics and it's red tape and all of those things. But why telegraph it? Why give the Russians 2 years to prepare? I don't know. It's debatable. We could go round and round in circles about this. The F-16s are coming. I have high hopes. I hope they are used well. I hope that okay, how do I say this? It's my understanding. Oh, Philippe, that's a good point. We should have written down pledges. We should have pledges written down to know who lies. That would be a good, report, some newspaper to report on, is like who has pledged and not delivered in the Ukraine war. To expose those countries, Um, okay, so something I'd like to just speak about with regards to these F-16s. Okay, the way, and it's my understanding from having heard. Now I'm like we're all like armchair F-16 experts. Um, yes, Mark. This is exactly what I was about to say. It's also about Soviet versus Western flying techniques. And so, I mean, okay, so yeah, so the point I'm trying to make is we're all freaking armchair F-16 experts because we've been hearing about this over and over. Everybody from Perun to Georgie to God knows who. So, um, let me just explain, if you don't already know, the way Soviet and Soviet descended air forces fly their missions is, um, the pilot is barely a step above a drone himself. He's in constant radio communication with the the command, and the command says, okay, you will go here and then we will tell you what to do. And then the command says, okay, are you over the spot? Yes, I'm over the spot. Okay, it's time to drop the bomb. you know and that's it. Everything is controlled, every little piece, every little command, right? And that's the very Soviet way. That's sort of, no human agency involved. You're not allowed to make choices, you're not allowed to plan. Your commander does all of that. You are just a robot, as a pilot. Okay. um Justin Bronk. Do I know who Justin Bronk is? That sounds familiar. Justin Bronk. I think I've seen this guy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. He looks like he, just moved out of his mom's house, but he's, yeah, Professor Justin Bronk. Yeah, with Rusi. Yeah, I've seen his stuff or his talks on various, yeah, like here on Times Radio. Yeah, super informed dude. And so where was I? So anyway, so Soviet pilots have no agency, whereas American pilots or NATO Western pilots have basically total mission control, more or less, and can change things on the go. And so the entire airplane is designed for the pilot to be able to do that, to give choices and much more information to be able to make those choices. You know, um, he looks like Lister from Red Dwarf. OMG! I just realized that he actually does. That's funny as hell. Uh, Red Dwarf Lister. I don't know. No, does he really look like this character? No. He looks like a different guy on Red Dwarf. No, no, no. To me, he looks like the H guy. The what is he? Is he a robot? I can't remember. Oh, it's been so long since I've seen that show. Anyway, uh Rimmer? Is it Rimmer? Oh god. Uh anyway, so that change in mindset. Now, the point I'm trying to make about this and why I'm speaking about this is this necessary change in tactics, must also, if they're going to be used effectively. Oh, that's right. He's a hologram. That's what it is. Oh my gosh, Greg, thank you. This change in the requirements on the pilot should also be reflected in a change in command, in Ukrainian command. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is that if Right, there you go, KK's GG. So long as he isn't hampered by a bunch of smeg heads. This is the point. That if the pilots are hampered by neo-Soviet doctrine that still continues to pervade the Ukrainian army, then the F-16s are not going to be as effective as they could be. If the pilot is saying, "Hey, I was trained to use these to do things this way and to make decisions on the fly," and his commander is saying, "No, you're not allowed to make decisions on your own," then that's going to necessarily cause some conflict, and conflict in which conflict between the command, and this is really something. I was in a meeting this morning. One of the reasons I'm so damn tired, I was up this morning meeting with Ukrainians, not for teaching English, Ukrainians who are trying to join the military. So I'll just tell you what I'm doing. I'm part of a group of Ukrainians. I'm working with a group of Ukrainians who they're all like engineers of various types, computer engineers or electronics engineers, whatever, who are trying to enlist in the Ukrainian army as a group in order to join Angry Birds. If you guys don't know what Angry Birds is, it's a video game, but it's also one of the premier sort of drone units. Let's see if I can find them. One of the premier drone units in Ukraine, working in they are it is part of the Ukrainian army, and so their idea is yeah, Lauren, right, when pilot cannot make independent thoughts about the battle, then airplanes fall out of the sky. That's exactly right, and that gives me deep concern, that these F-16s might be deployed, but the command is like, no, we're going to use them the way we want to use them. Screw you, NATO guys, and we don't care what the pilot's training is, So Ukrainian command needs to adapt, needs to change, and this is going to force Ukrainian command to adapt, or they're not going to get more F-16s. You know what I mean? Like, if Ukraine gets 10 F-16s and they don't use them effectively, not that many are going to come. Oh, Ozzy Bugga, I missed the start of the stream. What exactly are China going to restrict about drones? China, to repeat, China is in 30 days, China will restrict the export of drones that can be used for military purposes. So that includes Mavic recon drones, and that will kill a lot of Ukrainians because specifically DJI Mavic 3s are the recon drone for Ukraine. That's the long and the short of it. So the end result is we decided we're going to crowdfund a freaking drone factory or something in Ukraine. That's basically the conclusion that we come to. So come join us on the Discord. If you scroll back, you'll see the link to the Discord should still be valid. Yeah. Okay. So where was I going with this? Okay. So F-16s. All right. So I'm working with a group of Ukrainians who, they are afraid of being conscripted. They're afraid of being drafted or mobilized, as they say here. Oh yes, thank you. I posted the link to Justin Bronk's video on Ward Carroll's channel. I was trying to remember Ward Carroll. I actually watched that entire video twice. Thank you, Cheryl, for doing that. Yes, Aussie Bugget. It will also kill Chinese drone production because it appears to be a total export ban, not just to Ukraine. Yeah, Lauren, Ukraine should announce a new drone racing league. Yeah. Anyway, so they kind of do have a new drone racing league. It's called the ZSU. Anyway, no, I mean they actually have their own. It's a drone force. It's not even a part of the ZSU. It's its own thing now. Anyway, so what these Ukrainians are doing, and there's like 5 or 6 of them, is they want to all join as a group with the idea that we can have some control over where they put us. If we all join as a group, then and kind of we negotiate a deal with the ZSU to say, hey, if you want us to join, we have all of these skills. Then we will join as a group, and we will go and we will become drone operators, and that's it. It's an attempt to win back some control from the government, essentially, because Ukrainians value their freedom so much. And as much as I disagree with my Ukrainian students, vehemently disagree with my Ukrainian students who actively are avoiding the draft, dodging the draft, trying to leave the country or have left the country. The one thing that they say to me over and over is, I value my freedom more than anything else, and I don't feel free in my own country. And so I having some empowerment and agency, I think, is important. In any case, so in our discussions like today, we were talking about the problems in the Ukrainian military and the problems with corruption, and the most important thing that they talked about was the lack of accountability. And Dennis Davydov was talking about this today, I heard. That's interesting, Aussie Bugga. Same as PAL battalions the Brits tried in World War I. Yeah, it's kind of the same idea, except it's more grassroots. If China is restricting drones, won't the Russians be screwed too? No. Salt of the Red Earth? No. I am quite certain that China will continue to send drones to Russia through whatever means necessary. And they won't be able to completely restrict drones. Leaving China. They won't be able to completely restrict them, but it'll be enough to put a serious damper on. That's interesting, Cheryl. Okay, Justin Bronk was saying Soviet doctrine requires pilots under more direct control, not less. Direct control from their commanders is what I was understanding. Or do I have it backwards? Anyway. Right, and yes, Greg, and I do. Greg says, James, you should explain to them that if the orcs win, they will have even less freedom and permanently. And those Ukrainians who are facing their fear and banding together like this to say, hey, we know that we have a civic duty. We want to serve our country. We don't want the corruption. We don't want the inept commanders. We don't want, this Soviet system, if you will. And this is the solution. Okay. So, and also I would say Rick the Ukrainian yesterday on his live stream, he and I actually had a little conversation. There was a little back and forth, talking about how, and my wife has been complaining also about how the Ukrainian Congress, the Verkhovna Rada, as it's called, the Ukrainian Parliament, wants to raise taxes. But what do they want to do, right? Ukraine raise excise. Oh my God. Learn to spell, James. Excise. Why can't I spell? Tax. Yeah. So, oh wow, they actually passed it. Holy crap. This is so stupid. So, Ukrainian, July 18th, passes bill to increase fuel excise taxes. It's so dumb, right? It's just so dumb. So this is regressive taxation. It's regressive taxation here. And raising the taxes for petrol and for gasoline and diesel fuel here. That is a direct bind on the Ukrainian economy. Just like if you raise the price of gas in America, it has we see that the high cost of gas in America arguably precipitated the Great Recession. Yeah, you're right. KKGG, conscription isn't solely a Soviet invention. Western democracies have implemented the draft when in any direct wars. And I think it's absolutely a necessity. And it's shocking that there hasn't been more of a full draft. Okay, yeah, Cheryl, that's right. Direct control by commanders. So, Camilla, have Ukraine get the reconnaissance plans yet? Which reconnaissance plans? I mean, Ukraine gets reconnaissance plans, but constantly, and they have their own reconnaissance plans. It's just the question is: are the commanders using them, and are they exchanging information in a proper way? Now, the one thing I will say is that, and I apologize that my articles are out of order. I just did not have time to order things. But so Ukraine has developed its own. It's not about even getting the reconnaissance. It's about integrating the reconnaissance across the system, across the army, and between groups. So one unit might have reconnaissance. Yeah, this is what I was looking for right here. One unit on the front line, for example, might have reconnaissance in about Russian positions, okay? But the next unit over 1 kilometer away does not get that information, okay? And this is how Russia is taking advantage of these holes in the Ukrainian line, like Pokrovsk, right? Which this is frankly, I've been talking about this for months when everybody else. I'm not trying to say I'm Cassandra here or anything, but everybody else was all about Vovchansk, and all these other places. And I'm like, Pokrovsk. Like, go back and check my live stream. Somebody go back and find out, when did I start talking about Pokrovsk? I know that it was, I think it was end of April. Aussie Bucket, this is a really good question. Thank you. On recruitment, the Polish-sponsored battalion has been reportedly successful in attracting recruits, and now Czechia is considering doing the same thing. What are my thoughts about that idea? Thank you for asking that, Aussie Bugger. Polish Ukraine battalion, right? Wait a minute. Oh, learned to spell Polish. The Lithuanian Polish Brigade. Interesting. Oh, no, that's 2009. No, that's not it. Here we go. This is what I'm looking for. July 8th. Okay. So then this is massive. I guess they have more than 3,000 people already. This is from July 8th. So they already have the 1st Brigade trained, I understand. And yeah, here's the deal, right? Going back to the point that I was making, the discussion that I was having with these group of Ukrainians today, who are wanting to join. We're talking about lack of accountability for these commanders who are shit. I don't have a more sophisticated way of saying it. Shit. Okay. And I can tell you that there's, and I'll just go back to this old article, right? Kiev. Independent. No, I want to go and then Legion. Yeah. So we can talk about this here. So, and I brought this up before, but this is an article from 2022. Okay. And it's talking about a specific dude, and I'm going to call out his call sign by name, Krakow. Okay. His first name is Taras, and he's listed as Taras in this article. See, there's Major Taras Vashuk and also Vadim Popuk. Okay. These people are widely known to be corrupt, and like just basically causing. Oh, Catherine, thank you for coming. Have a good night. Yeah, 2:30 a.m. Wow, I'm just shocked that you're here, and thank you for coming, Catherine, all the way from Australia. We have another person from New Zealand who pops in all the time. It's pretty amazing. But the point is, these people, these commanders, I happen to know they're still in command in the same units. Well, not the same units. I guess they got transferred, but they're still they're still commanders in the Legion. Okay, and here, if you read this article from 2022, okay, and there's this is not the only one. There's at least two of them. Okay, and there's no accountability for these commanders who are doing horrible things, and I can tell you more stories, and I have spoken up about these stories. So there's no accountability. There's no system like in World War II when you had like in the American Army, we had a bad general who wasn't killing. He was killing too many guys, or missions weren't getting fulfilled. Whatever, they'd get sent back to America for further training or kind of a demotion, and sometimes they'd get more training, they'd redeem themselves, and they'd come back to the front and be successful. Bell says, James, are you on Reddit? I occasionally go on Reddit. I'm not a Redditor per se, but I do have a Reddit account, and I even created my own subreddit called Why Ukraine. There is a Why Ukraine subreddit. Actually, I think when I went on to set up my subreddit, I think I might have found that there was already a Why Ukraine subreddit. I'll have to, but anyway, I set up my own regardless. So, so Ozzy Bugga, this is exactly the point. So Ozzy Bugga says, I hope these criminals are not allowed to associate with a battalion being trained by the Polish government of Ukrainian men in Poland. And this is why this Polish battalion has been so successful, and why so many Ukrainians who left the country to avoid the draft have been. Yes, Bell, please send me a link. And by the way, Shere Khan, yeah, good leaders are hard to find. It's not just about corruption and stuff. It's also about just lack of training. Earlier, last month, I guess now it's last month, one of my friends was talking about how they got this new commander, and essentially is like a lieutenant, and he had like 2 years of war theory and had never been on a battlefield, and I happen to know some of those lieutenants or people qualified to be officers in the Ukrainian army, and their 2 years of classes were just like once a week on Saturdays, or every other week on Saturdays, they would sit for like a 4-hour PowerPoint and then maybe march around the yard a little bit. And one time they got to actually see a tank. So these are not well-trained officers at all. And Ukraine is just throwing it together as fast as they can. So this is the point. Why have so many of these men who have left Ukraine to avoid the draft, but now they're joining to go back in? Why? Because of accountability. Accountability, right? And they exist. Will that be an international legion as well, training in Poland? Well, yes, technically it is an international legion, but it's an international legion composed of Ukrainians. Now, will there be accountability? So, in other words, listen, let me just tell you what happens with the International Legion is it just depends on where you go and where your unit goes. And so, in the International Legion, companies or battalions, they don't have their own independent command. They are just attached to another brigade, like the 71st Brigade or the 26th Brigade, whatever. Okay. And yes, nepotism is a huge problem. Yes, thank you. Ukraine has had 10 years to figure this out. So aggravating. It hurts. But here's the thing. Okay. Ukrainians value freedom. Very important thing. They exist. That's a good question. Maybe we can join the Polish battalion. That's a really good question. I would much rather do that. So Ukrainians value freedom, truly, but they also value family. Family, and you guys are not going to like what I'm about to say, or some of you. Okay. Family values. Valuing family comes first. Whenever Ukrainians ask me, which is every time I meet a Ukrainian, the one question they always want to ask, and sometimes they're too shy and they don't get around to it, but they always ask me, why are you in Ukraine? And usually they ask something like, are you married? Do you have family here? Something like that. And I'm like, yes, but that's not why I'm helping. That's not why I'm here. See, in their mind, they cannot even wrap their brains around why someone would come here from another country and want to try to help them unless you have family here, right? Because family is the most important thing. I will tell you from my own personal experience that there's another culture in America, and Cheryl, you may argue with this or you may not, I don't know, or Shere Khan. There's another culture, and I should say cultures, but I'm going to speak about, my personal experience. There's another culture that values family more than anything else. And it also happens to have the most corrupt governments in the United States, and was also subjected to genocide, and was also held, and arguably continues to be held, under the rulership of an empire. And that culture is Native American culture. Native American Indians, in my personal experience, and I lived and worked out there for 10 years. And there is actual scientific measurement of this shit. They are the most corrupt governments, local and regional governments in America. And I've faced that corruption myself many, 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 many times. And they value family so much. They value family so much that it sounds like Cambodia. Family, food, and corruption are what tie this country together. They value family so much that if you are elected to or hired into an important position in the community, your family, if your brother or your cousin or your uncle's sister's whatever comes to you and says, "Hey, I need a job," you're not going to say, "Well, file your application and we'll see if you're qualified." No, you'll say, "Great, I'll get you a job." Okay? Because you value family more than law, more than anything else. It's this that where corrupt I'm not saying that family values are corrupt or lead to corruption. What I'm really saying here is we have two separate systems of governance and morality. One is one where, family comes first, and another one where we say it's a nation of laws and not of men. At the intersection of those two places is where corruption occurs. Does that make sense? I hope so. And that is what we have in right. Yeah, exactly. Aussie Bugga, you are not good if you do not favor family here. Right. It is a basic moral principle. All the connections are essentially family connections, and there's no cross talk, cross chatter. People at work, don't get to know each other. They're not friends, right? In social circles and things, and yeah. So that's why it's partly why it's so endemic. And I mean, isn't it a good thing? Don't you want to help your family, right? How can that be wrong? How can that be bad? Or family and friends, right? You want to help people who are close to you. That's what a good person should do, shouldn't they? But when it's applied in the government and the military, it's corruption. You know. Yeah, to be honest, some of that does happen here in the West, but it's more the result of having direct pipeline to inside knowledge of a discipline rather than just pure nepotism. Yeah. Um, yeah. If anyone that is an us mentality to a degree, and interesting. So in Cambodia, you do not call someone a friend. You call them, uh, if you are close, you call them a brother/sister. A widowed Cheryl says a widowed Hickory. That's a Apache reservation. A widowed Hickory woman whose husband was Hopi had her horses stolen, but the tribal police wouldn't do anything because it was their relatives who did it. I can give you countless examples of exactly that on the Indian reservations, Cheryl, that I personally saw. So, JPH, thank you for coming. That's all right. Yeah, go back and we had a whole big discussion. Let's see. They exist. I say the best cultures in the world are those least sycophantic unto a psychopath or centralized mafia Kremlin. The ancient culture of Ukraine was still good, best on earth. But what others? Yeah, I would say that Ukraine has also what makes Ukraine different from Russia's culture, among many things, is this historical memory of freedom. Okay, the Kazakh culture, not Kazakhstan, but Cossacks, even though ultimately the same thing. So Ukraine Cossack letter, right? This is the classic one, right? The reply of the Zaporizhian Cossacks to the Sultan of Istanbul, which is, I won't read the whole thing, but it's hilarious. Where basically the they wrote this wonderful letter to the to the Sultan, that it was basically just totally making fun of thou Turkish devil, brother and companion of the cursed devil and secretary to Lucifer himself, greetings. What the hell kind of noble knight art thou? Satan voids and thy army devours. Satan voids means Satan, takes a shit. Never wilt thou be fit to have the sons of Christ under thee. Thy army we fear not, and by land and by sea our chaikas will do battle against thee. So, and I don't know if you knew this, but let's see. First Ukraine Constitution. Yeah. So the Constitution of Pilip Orlik, arguably the first Ukrainian constitution, and the essentially the the Cossack Constitution, April 5th, 1710. Okay, the pacts and constitutions of rights and freedom of the Zaporizhian host, and this, was this memory of freedom. Let's see. Ozzy Bugga. A Ukrainian deflated me by saying the Cossack letter was a later invention. I mean, that's possible. It might be. But I don't think so. It doesn't matter. It's the memory of it and the story of it that Ukrainians keep in their head. That is it's this legend of an image of ourselves as a free people. Oh, wow. Let's see. Cheryl says, I made my first political enemy in kindergarten because I sat next to the daughter of one of two rivals for tribal chairman. Yes. Yes. So, yes. Yeah, there's lots on the reservation on Pine Ridge. And yeah, Rosebud. Yeah, tribal leaders and family members. Yeah, it's really bad. So, Ukraine is not as bad as that, as I would say. It doesn't face as many problems as, as Native America. But again, Native Americans valued freedom, and until they were, genocided into near oblivion. Shere Khan, I will tell everyone there that you miss them. I will do so. I will let them know. So anyway, but it's very interesting to me that, the Ukrainians I spoke with today brought up this issue of accountability. This idea of working against that kind of mafia system, which I think a lot of that comes from Russia and comes from not just the Soviet Union, but the Russian Empire, which imposed, what we now call a mafia state, but which was basically just a feudal state. And feudalism, again, when you combine feudalism with democracy, you end up with corruption. So, my God, it's almost 8 p.m. here. And I've only talked about like 3 news articles. Ozzy Bugga, thank you very much for bringing up this Polish Legion. Because here's the deal, right? What's going to happen if Ukrainian commanders get a hold of this Polish Legion and throw them and basically send them into the meat grinder the way arguably they did with the 1st Battalion of the International Legion? What happens when these, when these Ukrainians come to Ukraine having tasted what a real army's supposed to be like? I'm apologies for, but, and say, no, we're not going to tolerate corruption and ineptitude from our commanders. What happens then? Rather than just, like as some Ukrainians are apt to do, this kind of learned helplessness, I'm sorry to say, where they just kind of like, well, that's the way the government is, that's the way it's always going to be. And I know it, people in America and in your country that may say the same thing. Kind of like they used to say in World War II, how are you going to keep them down on the farm when they've seen Paris, right? How are you going to integrate them back into the Ukrainian system when they've seen NATO? And I don't mean just 3 months of training or a month of training. I mean, these are guys who've lived in Europe for the better part of the past 2 years at least, maybe more. And now they're coming back to Ukraine and they're going to say hell no. Yes, this is what I'm saying, Ozzy Bugga. Maybe the Polish government can/will use their influence to make sure their battalion is used wisely. I hope it works and other nations do the same. And God damn it, that is KK's GG. They will likely be retaliated against, just not en masse. But the difference here is that they are en masse. They are en masse. They are. There's a mass of these Ukrainians. I mean, now maybe it won't work out that way, but I wish that the United States would say to Ukraine, "Hey, listen, you've got a bunch of Americans fighting." Wait a minute, did I just lose my sound? Okay, you had a bunch of. Oh, was that World War I, Nurse Sean? Thank you. My history after the year 1000 all gets a little bit fuzzy, so I apologize. You had a bunch of Americans fighting in the International Legion here. And if somebody fucking knew about it, and if our State Department, for example, took some action in America and said, hey, listen, you've got a bunch of Americans fighting in your International Legion. Are you treating them right? Are you utilizing them properly? That was not done. That was never done. And it still is not being done. And God damn it, I'm pissed off about it. And I'm going to tell you right now. I need to talk. I need to get this off my chest. I know that you guys know that I've been talking, we're doing this medevac truck raffle. Holy crap. We're over 1,000. And by the way, that does not a lot of you who donated via Buy Me a Coffee. This does not include that yet. Like Philippe. You bought 20 raffle tickets. Thank you. My God, we're going to do that raffle, guys. I just couldn't do it today. I just came from the drone lab, for Christ's sake. Yes, but you can, yes, KKGG, but you can still selectively retaliate against a group. Minor human oversights, being over-disciplined until the don't rock the boat message is received. Yeah, you're right. And I hope that doesn't happen. But yeah, Germany could raise a few. France, maybe Scandinavians together could form one. Low countries, yes. I think that's how the International Legion needs to be formed. Not just a bunch of random guys showing up in Lviv and going like, well, what do we do now? Because that's how the International Legion was formed in the first place. Wow. Thank you, Philippe. 20 memberships. Holy crap-a-moles. Thank you, man. Thanks a lot. Yeah, USA denial of any troops in the USA, unfortunately, which is ridiculous. We should be training Ukrainians in America. We have so many. Wow, we got a lot of members here. Marty, Ranonsky. Well, see, now all of you lurkers are being outed now. It Izzle, Lynn, Hugh G. I've seen you. Tridents. You just got a membership. Sakai. Kevin. Nils. Yes, I remember you. Luke, of course. Klaus. Klaus, you lurker, you. Klaus, I want to call out Klaus for a minute. Klaus has donated as much or more than anybody else. I'm sorry, Klaus. I'm outing you. You have bought a lot of you've contributed to like drones in a huge way. And a lot of things that have only been successful because of you. And I'd like to thank you personally for that. And I hope that you get your stuff soon. Dutch Lion, I've never seen you before. Yogi, of course I know you. Margarita Romero. Manu. Hey. Sonka FH. I think I've seen you before. Miriam. Pat, thanks for coming. Richard Stevens, of course. Borg fella. Been a while since you guys piped up. It's good to know that people are lurking out there. It's their own fault, James. They set their settings to receive gifted memberships. Yep, that's what happens. Yeah, I think, thank you, Salt of the Red Earth. I think that UA leadership needs to be trained by NATO, not ground troops. Yeah, that's exactly what needs to happen. But I mean, I'm not saying that NATO, knows everything about this war. Obviously, that has been shown not to be the case. But it's not about that. It's about getting rid of this culture of corruption. That's the most important thing. And that's the training that the Ukrainian military leadership needs more than anything else. And probably logistics as well. All right. This is, I don't know. I don't know if I should end with this or not, but I have to. He's dead. His name is Casey. Real name is Jason Rodriguez. And I know he's okay with me saying that, or he would have been. He died sometime last month. And so, to be honest with you, so the reason I know this is I got a message. Okay, if he's alive, I'm gonna kill him. Okay, I got an email from a Russian hacker. From his email, asking me to send my phone number and stuff, and it was pretty clear to me that it wasn't him. Like I reckon, when you see an email, it's like, that's not how he talks. And I had a debate with all of my other friends who are, or acquaintances, whatever, who are or were in the Legion together, and we all kind of know each other from the barracks. And we haven't heard from him we usually talk to him like once a week, and we haven't heard anything. And now, he's gone maybe 2 weeks or something and not responding, but this is a month. And now I get this email, and it's happened before. I'm still waiting. I'm still holding out hope. Okay. The thing about this is what makes me so angry is his unit was down to nubs, worn down to nubs. Okay. And as I've spoken before, they just filled the gaps in the line with bodies. Greg, you're right. He might have been captured rather than killed, which is honestly more horrible to contemplate. Like, how did they get his email? You know, and he emailed me. The email said, you know, like, hey, I just got out of the hospital. Can you send me your number? But there were errors in the writing. And frankly, nobody signs their emails or letters with kindly anymore. Nobody's done that since like 1910 in America. Okay. Kindly is like the big red flag to me. And frankly, I've seen this before when other people have died and their family or relatives have gotten, and if he died, he would have died on an assault, and that would be how he would have lost his phone. And then if like the orcs stole his phone and or somehow just got his email, were able to hack into his email, and maybe they weren't able to get into Signal, you know. So he can't get me on Signal, but he can get me on email. Right? So what does that tell me? It tells me that they're able to get into his phone, but they can't open up Signal because he has that protected. So that's basically the situation. CZ, thank you. Oh, you know what? You make a good point. I actually have connections in that battalion, and I will be reaching out, but I will also talk to Greg Terry as well. Maybe I'm anyway, I just had to, it's been bothering me. I found out like Monday. When did the email come? The email came on Sunday, I think it was. And there's Sean. What is the cost of a drone motor manufacturing line? Motors are a key component of the drone. Longevity of the motor is not critical, but reliability of new motors is. Yeah, that's a really good question. I actually have some. Click on the join the Discord link. There's Sean, because that's the sort of thing to talk about. I have some ideas about that, about drone motors and stuff, and that is winding electric motors is expensive and time consuming, and now I am in communication with his unit, with the battalion and company that he was involved with, and but I'm in connection with the drone team. Anyway, I obviously I didn't lead with this. You know, I'm burying this in my live stream, but you know, he was an amazing dude. And what I would say, yeah, thank you, JPH. Fingers crossed he's still out there, and soon you get to see and talk to him. Yeah, Cheryl Zenya. Yeah, I have Cheryl's Cheryl. Trying to say Cheryl and Zenya at the same time. I have Zenya's WhatsApp, so I know that he was an amazing and successful soldier, and I got to help him on that path and be a friend to him on that path. And I remember his first day in the barracks and trying to run a single lap around the the barracks yard, I guess. He couldn't even make it one lap. But I was so glad to have someone else who was slower than me. Yeah, and CZ, I sent the reason I'm able to talk about this is I did send a code word, and I didn't get a response back. And it's been some days. And so that basically tells me, the hackers just said, "Oh well, we're not going to try," But usually, what they do is they will send an email like that from the deceased's email, and then try to ask for money. That's what happens. So, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't mean to go for 2 hours. I apologize for taking up your time. Obviously I had a lot more things I wanted to talk about today. But I just had to get this off my chest. And thank you for being here with me. And we got to win. We got to beat these motherfuckers. We got it, because they're just pure evil. Nurse Sean, thank you. They're just pure fucking evil. And I'm going to do everything I can, everything that's in my power, to make sure that Russia's not only defeated, but every last one of those fucking war criminals is brought to justice, and every one of those stolen children is brought home, no matter how long it takes. And that's all I have to say about it. Yeah. Casey was an amazing dude, and he had a positive. He was able to look at the big picture of things. He wasn't just in the trenches infantryman, although that's valuable too. He was inspired by me, and I was inspired by him. And it sucks. So, thanks everybody. Thanks for coming. Wish me luck as I build these drones and hopefully do what we've been talking about. And maybe we'll make something happen. Slava Ukraine, everyone. Do побачення. I'll see everybody on Saturday. And by God, on Saturday, we're going to have a goddamn raffle. All right?